Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of College and Career Pathways, where every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m., we provide you with information on various colleges and universities, financial aid resources, training schools, technical programs, skilled trade professions, employment opportunities, career exploration, and career readiness skills, all designed to help you make the best career decisions possible. I'm Tony Curitin, your host. And again, we are back with Colleen from Michigan School and Government Credit Union. Yes, I nailed it.
Got it right.
Good deal, good deal. We are continuing in our financial literacy series, and today we are going to be talking about paying yourself first and setting yourself up with emergency funds and just, overall getting yourself into um, a healthier financial situation and making more uh, balanced choices regarding how you spend your money. So Colleen, welcome back, and it's all yours.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Let me pull up. Okay, so paying yourself first. It's a phrase you might hear a lot as kind of just like a keyword or catchphrase, but what exactly it means, I've heard lots of different answers. But really, paying yourself first, it's a method of saving. It's a method of effective strategy to save up for long-term goals. How does it work? It is literally, as soon as you get paid, you put money into your savings account first. Because what's the standard procedure? You're probably, you get your paycheck, you want to make sure your bills are taken care of, you pay, all the important bills. You might put a little bit in savings, get some wants, maybe put a little bit more in savings. Maybe there's nothing left for savings. So the concept of putting money into your savings account first before any bills seems counterintuitive, but I'm gonna show how it's actually a really good idea. It's setting money aside, again, before bills, before groceries, before the other things, other needs. We have lots of needs. They're going to come, we're going to think they come first. $100 starting point, even look at change. Change. I mean, it doesn't have to be big money. Benefits. When you when you contribute to your savings account consistently, you're contributing consistently, you're building a good habit, right? You're building a positive habit, a habit that is benefiting you, you can see grow. You are helping your future. So you are really setting up and establishing positive habits so you can save for the future for specific items as well as, a general retirement. Guilt-free spending. If you pay all your bills first and then you've got this money left over for your, wants or nice to haves, you're kind of really, you're having that conversation with yourself about those shoes. Like, I really want these shoes, but I really shouldn't buy these shoes. If you already knew, that's right, I already had my, $20 this week or whatever it was put aside. So it's guilt-free spending. I know I can buy these shoes. If I have enough money, I can get these shoes. You don't have to have all those conversations with yourself. Rainy day readiness. We've all noticed that at any time, what is it, the phrase, life happens while you're making other plans. That's what it would say in my mom's kitchen. As soon as you plan for one thing, life's curveballs get thrown at you. You have to pay for a health expense or a travel expense or, an educational expense. There are all kinds of things. Having to owe taxes when you think you're getting a refund and all of a sudden, now you have to come up with money. and relax willpower, because that's really the hardest part of saving, right? It's the willpower. I don't have to convince you that saving is good. I'm not here to give you all the reasons why saving your money will help you. You already understand that putting money aside for the future will help you. But how do you do it? How do you make it easier? How do you be effective at it? You know, I was uh, comparing saving to eating right, and thinking about the way you eat. You know you're supposed to eat right, right? You're not against eating right. You're not pro unhealthy. You know, you understand that the food choices you make now have an effect on your future. You understand that it's more fun to eat fun. You know, it's more fun to not worry about calories or dairy or anything like that. And it's purely your self control who chooses the French fries or chooses the pizza or ice cream or quinoa. And it's you who holds yourself accountable for sometimes choosing the quinoa, sometimes choosing the French fries. So we all understand the willpower that, unless there's some really commendable people here, I can't say we eat healthy 100% of the time. I know I don't eat a healthy 100% of the time. It would be really hard. If I could somehow flip a switch that just automatically made all the food that I eat healthy, I mean, obviously, who wouldn't want to do that? It wouldn't take any willpower. I could eat whatever I wanted. Visible progress. In the same way that the more you eat right, the more you eat well, you'll start to see a change. You'll start to maybe see a visible progress in your body. I've heard if you drink nothing from but water as a beverage, not only water, but only water as a beverage for like a month, your face skin improves, and people will lose weight, and you start to see the benefits of your eating right. In the same way, savings is really hard to do if you don't really see it going anywhere. I spent years, you put $50 in the savings account, but 2 weeks later, you took 25 out of it. Yeah, you put some birthday money in, but well, then this trip came up, so I took out $50 of spending money. It's not really building, and you don't really have any incentive. If you started to see, if every time you looked at your savings account, it was higher and higher and higher, and you actually started to see some progress, just like you actually started to feel better or look better, it gives you the motivation to keep going. It gives you motivations that you're making the right decisions, that you have positive habits. So what is that switch to flip? How do we make all the food healthy? In the same way, literally, where we'll talk about how do you sneak vegetables into kids' foods. You make pesto but with zucchini and they'll never know, or you use this instead of oil or butter. Sneak it to yourself, right? Hide your savings from yourself. Well, pay yourself first is easy when you put it on autopilot. That's a much way to put it. A much better way to put it is put it on autopilot, because it's the willpower, right? The willpower is what makes it so difficult, and the self-control. If someone gave you $10 and said, you should put 5 of that aside, and you're like, okay, and you put 5 of it aside, and you're kind of happy with your $5, but you wish you had 10. But if someone just came up to you and said, here's $5, and you're like, great, wow, this is wonderful. You don't feel like you lost $5, right? Ways to save automatically. Automate your paycheck. A lot of people aren't sure how many different things you can actually do with your paycheck, with your pay stub, where your pay can be directed to. Hopefully you are taking advantage of any 401k program, matching contribution. 3% is kind of a standard. I recommend you put in as much as possible. That 1% of your check this week addition that you make, you're not going to notice those couple dollars And those couple dollars over 10, 15 years are really going to make a difference. If you get paid by direct deposit, you can have it deposited into more than one account where it is broken up. I have it actually where it's deposited not only into two different accounts, but at two different financial institutions. One where I have, kind of my savings, and then another one where I do my daily, my MSGCU checking. You can have it distributed with accounts within your multiple savings accounts. Excuse me. You could have a savings account for the house, a savings account for car repairs, a savings account for vacation. You could at one point go into your portal that you have at work where you take days off and look at your pay stubs. You can change which accounts and where it goes in, and if it's a percentage you want, or if it's a set amount. In the same way you choose if money goes into your health savings account or into your child's educational savings account. Automate your account. If you say, well, my check is sporadic, that doesn't really work for me because I'm self-employed. I'm a hairstylist, I'm a landscaper, so I get paid more in liquid assets. Well, okay. Well, set up some automatic transfers, that happen behind the scenes. If you feel uncomfortable about putting, $100 at the end of every month or $100 at the end of every week, then break it up into smaller transactions. Maybe do $10 every week transfer, or $50 every week. However much really works for you. If it's a small amount just to start, just $5, just get used to having that little bit, come out where you don't miss it until you notice like, oh, it's growing really higher. You can set up money from your checking account to be transferred depending on how much that paycheck is. Maybe you say, I don't know how much my paycheck is going to be, so I don't want to say $50 or $100 because I don't know what it's going to be. It's not salary. Then you can have it set up, for a small amount. Just transfer $20 or $10 monthly or weekly, however often, without you even noticing it. Automate your bills in the same way of putting money into savings accounts. You have a car savings account, and all the money that's towards your car, all the money you put on repairs, towards, car insurance, car payments, really any money that you spend on the car goes into that account. It could be a checking account or a savings account. And you have your bill set up so that, let's just say $500 a month from your paycheck, or $500 a paycheck, is automatically deposited into that car account. Well, then you have it set up that your car payment and your car insurance, between those two bills, we'll say, they're each less than $250, so it's covered by that $500, that those two bills come out automatically. So for sure that account's going to have the $500 at least, because you scheduled it from your paycheck, and you don't have to worry about paying, those two bills, remembering or getting the reminders and making sure to do it. Automating your bills is really handy. I'm mentioning it in a separate specific account. You really do need to be careful about just setting up automations where you're not 100% sure you're going to have the money there. I'd love to have all my bills on auto pay. That would be great, but everything's on different due dates and I get paid on different due dates. Personally, I'd rather control that. I have a few things. I do actually have a car account, and I have my car payment automatically comes out of it, and I have that amount automatically from my paycheck going in there. So you can have percentages or set amounts going into specific accounts to pay bills, in the sense of like an escrow almost for a house. automate your contributions. Again, if you have been saving previously, you've been working on saving, how can you improve? How can you bonus it? Your spare change jar. You have a rule that anytime you find spare change, any coins you find on the ground, that all goes into the savings account. Put rewards from any cashback program, where you get $5 back for spending 25 or having 25,000 points. If there's a promotion, sometimes a financial institution will have, if you have so many debit purchases in a month, we'll deposit $25 into your account. Put that into your savings account. Any tax refunds. I used to get mileage reimbursement back when I used to be driving around all the time to different locations, and would get a mileage reimbursement for money I had already spent. So a savings account would be great for that, where just all of your reimbursements for gas go to. Now you, in theory, know that all of those are being automatically deposited into that, that one account, instead of your checking account with all of the other, mixed up money. This works for everything. This works for just putting money aside for the future, 401k, just future. It also is for specifics. I specifically want to save up for this trip, and I'm naming the savings account vacation fund. And when I see the balance, get higher or lower, it means something to me. If I were to go in and take money into my savings account a week ago, I wouldn't feel so bad. But now when it asks, do you want to take money out of your vacation fund? I feel a little differently, because now it's my vacation fund. I'm a little more attached to it. So I think twice about it. If you set up specific accounts for specific goals, there's no, there'd be a $5 minimum. I mean, there's no, you have to have contributions. You have to continue to save every week or so. Your account actually just asked today, how long can an account sit with no activity? And that's 1 year. So activity, meaning any withdrawal, any deposit. So anytime a direct deposit or a transfer goes into your account, that counts as a transaction. Okay. Okay, I will pause there. Are there any questions, comments, questions, or queries so far? Okay, in terms, going backwards, automating your bills. One thing about automating your bills, make sure, automating your bills and transfers, check with your financial institution, because not every place is the same. They may only allow so many, you can only transfer 6 transfers from your savings into your checking every month, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do here. But just so you know, there might be fees for too many transfers, or if there's a limit to anything like that, you'd want to ask if there's any fees, because you do not want to overdraft, right? You don't want to go into the negative. Going into the negative defeats this whole purpose. Something else about your account, we at MSGCU just started this year, well, I guess it technically was last year, the Achieve Student Debit Account. And only in our Achieve Student Debit Account do we have the Roll Up the Change, which is if you purchase something for $2.90, 10 cents, that 10 cents that rounds it up to $3 would be transferred from your checking into your savings at the end of the day. So all of the rounded up change for all the purchases throughout the day used with your debit account, your checking account, will get transferred. So again, do you miss that 10 cents? If someone stopped and said, would you like to deposit 10 cents into your account? You're like, well, all right, I guess. But did you notice it was gone? If they gave you change and left a dime out, you probably wouldn't even notice. So that's another way, if you feel uncomfortable doing the saving, or if you feel like it's too much self-control, another way to have it automated, find an account or find a situation where sometimes they'll do that for credit cards, where whatever you put on your credit card, they'll, round up to the next dollar, and put that into a savings account. Find out what your financial institution can do, because there's lots of different types of savings accounts with different interest rates, different ways of transferring, automatic. Talk to your company, your HR, to see exactly how you can make any changes. I'd like to up my retirement contribution from 6% to 7%, or up it up to 1% every year. They recommend at MSGCU that everybody raises theirs 1% every year until 10%. So that's another great way to save without really realizing you're saving. Okay, were there any other questions? Anything at all? It's kind of like hiding the vegetables in the food. You in the back of your mind, you're doing it, but you get to shop guilt-free. You get to know you're saving without having to go through any of the willpower of it. You still get to, look good. So think of saving as eating right. If you never saved, if you went very often without eating well, it's genuinely going to affect your health later, and it's going to be probably very expensive, potentially fatal. Similarly, the more you avoid saving, the more likely some tragic expense is going to come up. The more likely you're going to find yourself in a situation where you said, "Oh, I should have been saving. If only I had started saving a long time ago." I guess the quiet group today, Ms. Curitin, just I really like this topic because I think it's something you can make such little changes one time and have such an impact on your overall finances.
Can you answer a question as generalized as possible? If you open up a savings account and you're depositing small increments, you're depositing in small increments, how much interest can that typically earn a person? Think of it in terms of I'm definitely a high schooler just graduated or a college student, which means I don't have a whole lot of money, but I'm putting in, $10, $15 here and there over the course of a month and then a year. How much interest does that translate to?
Not much. It would be, I'm probably less than $1. And a benefit of savings accounts is that it earns you interest, but realistically, it's less than 1% a lot of the time, all of the time. There are other savings, golden savings, silver savings, that'll give you a higher savings or a higher interest rate if there's more money there. But it's not so much about the interest rate or looking for or trying to take advantage of the interest rate. It's the $5. If you feel comfortable putting 4 in, put 4 in. If you put 5 in, if you want to do 10 twice a month instead, it's more about that dollar amount than the interest, because I tried to include that into some of my checking account and budgeting, where it's like, look, if you started putting money aside, this is how much you'd earn. And it was very sad. It was very sad. I think if you put $100 in and then came back 10 years later, you had like another $2 or like $1.
Wow.
So it's a benefit that it earns interest, but that's not going to be where you see the change. That's not, I have a health savings account, and that gets a like a 1.7 something interest, much, much higher interest rate. But it's still extremely low in comparison to just seeing actual currency build up.
So then you're not going to receive any benefits in that way. The real benefit comes in that it's teaching you to discipline your spending.
It's it's teaching you to discipline. It's separating your savings. It's not when your savings and your disposable income is in the same place. It all looks like disposable income. So by kind of separating and sending out to a separate account, or two, three, four accounts, to where you can't touch. I mean, you can get at it, but your debit card's not connected to it. You can't write a check for it. It's harder to get money out of the savings account physically. And it's the positive habits of, even if you're starting small now, it gets you into the habit where when you get to, larger contributions, you're well on your way. It's that it's the automation. It's this just setting yourself up for success. It's finance. You don't want it to seem harder than it is. You want to purposely make things as easy as possible. So if it's like, hey, you have a couple ideas to make savings easier for you, we all know we should do it. We all know, it's not as easy. So I would start with more small number, either deposits or transfers, rather than focusing on the interest. Certainly take advantage of, if you see a financial institution or a specific promotion that's, offering a better than usual interest rate. When you have a salary, maybe they're 22 years old, they're getting their first salary, or, putting 1% or 2% aside every check might be, a significant amount, or, $50 or so. So it's a way to start seeing benefit. You don't really see what goes into your retirement fund. You'll get the quarterly statements, and you're like, oh, this is great. Sure, but it's for the future. When you look at your actual kind of rainy day fund next to you, and it's there, and you never had it there before, and you feel like you've been living the same life, maybe a couple less coffees here and less pair of shoes, but now you've got this rainy day fund, and you're proud of yourself. It's self-independence.
Good deal. You guys, do you have any questions before we wrap this up?
Right now, I know you're specifically talking about checking accounts, but what is drawing a good interest rate with the economy being the way it is right now? What do you recommend?
What do I recommend as far as a rate, a savings rate?
No, I was saying with the economy being, I know with a checking account, you're not going to get a savings account, you're not going to get a high interest rate in terms of your savings. I said, what do you recommend with the economy being the way it is right now?
Well, short answer, refinancing a mortgage. So that's not so much just getting started. That would be for the little older audience. But right now, the one thing that stands out is that mortgage rates have dropped so low that whether you're getting a cash out refinance where you're like, I bet this house is worth more than it was, 10 years ago, and we've really paid into it. So let's redo the full kitchen, or let's get a new roof, or let's take that family vacation. Or if it's just, we've had a 4% for however many years, and now we can get 2%. Let's go in and see how much, if it'll make a difference. Deposits, I would say deposits recently were higher, and they've been deposit interest rate, interest rates for your deposits have slowly to drop. So I don't think that's going to go significantly in either way. I don't know if that helps too much. It's a good time to improve your credit if credit is an issue or a challenge because of COVID and some situations being proactive of, well, can I, defer my car payment for so long, or can I, oh, my student loan's not due, for another 6 months or so, use this opportunity to improve the credit, or maintain your positive credit rather than, not doing anything and having it get worse. Does that help?
Yes, thank you so very much.
Any other questions, guys? All righty then. We'll wrap this up for today. And I want to thank you, Colleen, for your time. It was a great presentation. I know this is information that's going to help a lot of young people and some older people too, because, there are a lot of older people that, don't eat right.
Exactly.
So thank
or
you.
They'll tell you how to eat a salad, but
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely. They can tell you, but you don't see any, on their end. Thanks again, Colleen, for your time. And
all right. Thank you, everyone. Have
Thank
a
you.
great week.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye now. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.
You're welcome.
I'm going to look up our savings rate. I'm going to look that up just so I really think